This is high-speed chess. That's what you're watching.
What's going on, my guys? Jesse Rodriguez, Mr. Bam, had an interview as a big fight coming up on November 22nd. I want to just kind of react to it. Let's get right into this one. Why not?
Yeah, you've already beat some great fighters, especially Juan Francisco Estrada, first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind. But you look at the two big names out there, right, outside of yourself in the smaller weight classes. You have both from Japan, Junto Nakatani, and of course Naoya Inoue. And now you have Nakatani going to 122 for his next fight. So they're getting a little bit farther away from you. Do we see you fight either of those two guys, you think, before it's all said and done?
Yeah, I believe so. My next fight was supposed to be Nakatani. Things were already in the works. So, that just goes to show that I'm willing to fight whoever, whenever. But obviously things didn't go that way. So here I am fighting Martinez. But those two fights are definitely two fights that I do want to get in my career.
Right. I know there were talks, and I know that you were willing.
Look, man, I'm going to be a bit biased because not only do I like the monster more, I think I like Bam more than Junto, but I do believe both men beat him. But before we even started this video, I did have this pulled up, and I always found this a bit interesting. When you look at the timeline between them, we have Bam fighting at 112 for a while. He's coming under the 112 limit up into 2021. 2022, he goes on to fight Carlos Cuadras, right? And he moves up to 115 pounds. He stays at 115 only for about a year. Not even a year. Only 7 months he stays at 115, right? Around that same period, Junto Nakatani moves up to 115. He starts to pick up some momentum. He picks up the WBO title. And then the very next year, for a very odd reason, Bam decides to move down, which is very unheard of in boxing. A fighter moving down, it was a bit weird, right? But I get it. He wasn't champ at 112. Maybe he decided to go back and kind of scrape up a title at 112. He fights for the vacant title with Christian Gonzalez Hernandez, and then he unifies with Sonny Edwards. And in 2024, he decides that I'm not gonna, pursue undisputed at 112. I'm gonna now move back up to 115. And you're like, well, what happened in 2024? I said what happened in 2024. Junto Nakatani finally moves out of the 115 pound division. He moves up to 118. Hey man, hey man, you guys can connect it.
Going to go to 118, but now that they're both at 122, and maybe we even see Inoue go to 126 next year. There's been talk of that. But what weight do you think these fights are going to take place at?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. Never, thought about that. I always imagined me and Inoue at 122 or Nakatani at 118. But like you said, Nakatani, he moved up. So it's really hard to say. But, there's a lot of time. I'm still young and got a lot to go. So there's no rush.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if Inoue beats Nakatani. If they fight, that's a great fight. Yeah. But there is something about, and I ask fighters, and you and I haven't had a chance to talk before one of your fights, Bam, but I usually ask fighters in your position, when the dust settles, real recognize real, game recognize game. When the dust settles, who do you think is going to be standing? And everyone in boxing, respect to Nakatani and some others, but they see you and they see the monster, and it just looks different. Yes. You two look like different kinds of...
Oh, man, Max, don't do that, Max. What is today, Wednesday? It's early, it's cold here in Charlotte. Man, Max, Bam is a great fighter, but I don't run into many guys who are kind of separating the Juntos from the Bams. Like, I could see how people say, Bam may be superior due to his resume and due to his overall general skills. But when you look at Junto, he's a 3-division unified lineal champion now. He's going on. He's trying to become 4-division while also becoming undisputed while doing so. I don't see many people separating the Bams from Juntos. I get it. Bam's on the show and you want to kind of give him his props, but in reality, there's not a big gap. The big gap, look, there's nobody who sits at the table with Naoya Inoue right now today. It's Naoya, right? In the lower weight classes, that is. It's Naoya. Then you have the rest of the group. You're going to have your Bam, Junto. Then we're going to drop down to our Tarajis and fighters like that. But no, you can't group together Bam and Naoya Inoue. That's ridiculous.
Animals than everybody else. And that's really what super fights and eras are about. The dust settles. Two guys are left standing. When you survey the landscape, is the monster that guy for you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people have been mentioning that fight even before I became who I am today. So I know when that fight does happen, it's going to be huge for the sport of boxing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement there.
What is your like when you look at your opponent Martinez? Like you say, you don't look at.
Quick note about Noya versus Bam. It's a fight I don't want to see. I'm gonna be honest. The stylistic clash seems pretty interesting, but guys, it gets to a point we gotta sit here and admit the timing's off. Everything about this fight is off. The fight doesn't make sense, not in this lifetime. There's a lot more better fights we can make. There's a lot more, fighters we could build up and create super fights between other fighters. But we're talking about a guy who's 25. Noya is 31, 32. So there's a pretty good age gap there. Bam is at 115. It seems like he has no real interest in moving to 18 anytime soon, while Noya is looking to move to 126. So what is that? 118, 122. So it's a 3-division gap between the two. By the time Bam and Noya are ready to fight, and let's not forget that Noya said he's going to retire in 2027. This fight is, I don't think it's a fight we should be focusing on. If they wanted to fight, if Bam wanted to jump 2 divisions right now and fight Noya, the timelines just wouldn't align. He's too young. He's too small. He's not polished enough. He's a great fighter. He's a pound for pound talent. Noya Inoue is a generational talent. Noya Inoue is a fighter I look at and I say, well, he's one of the best and greatest fighters of all time. He's a top 10 fighter in both of those regards, in my opinion. But Bam Rodriguez, while being great at the moment, he's not great all the time, in my opinion.
You don't. I'm quite sure, since you don't look at boxing that much, you don't do your film study for your opponents. Does your team do the film study, and what do they come up? What have they thought about your opponent?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like past fights live, but I haven't gone back and watched film. But I just know he's a fighter that likes to come forward nonstop, throwing. But I'm expecting a very tough fight from Martinez, and I know this is gonna be a great fight for the fans. But me and my team have put a plan together, and
he robbed Kazuto Ioka, by the way. That was pretty bad. I think this should be Ioka's fight, not Puma's.
we're gonna go out there November 22nd and execute it.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Meantime, I think about when I mentioned pound for pound earlier. No one other than Chocolatito this small has ever been the pound for pound champ. And you could argue whether Chocolatito was or wasn't, but he was called that by Ring Magazine and by many, many fans. Is that something that's important to you, to one day be seen as, to see your name at the top of those lists?
Yeah, for sure. Just to see what Crawford has done and what put him at the #1 pound for pound list, in my opinion. I want to go out there and do the same thing. And like you said, Chocolatito was probably the only small fighter to be pound for pound king. So I want to follow those footsteps and do.
In a way, it's pound for pound king. From 2023 up until from when he beat Tapales until Usyk beat Fury, he was pound for pound king for a while. Even I don't think he ever regained the title. I think he was pound for pound king when he beat Paul Butler as well. He was pound for pound king for a while.
Do it myself.
And you're obviously you display a lot of humility. Like you come across as a very.
He could also reach it again after he stopped Junto.
Very humble guy. Even when we talk about a fight you have next month, you say, "Should I get past Martinez?" Right? Are you? Some fighters are very comfortable beating their chest, and in fact, it plays well commercially for some of them, right? How do you feel about being in the position that you're in, and how does that work with your basic, at least outwardly humble attitude? Are you comfortable, uncomfortable? How do you feel about it all?
I mean, to be honest, the place I'm in, the position I'm in my career, it's a blessing. It's what I've always dreamed of as a kid, to be where I'm at today. So, I'm just taking it all in, soaking it all in, appreciating the moment, appreciating everything that's been given to me. But, I just remain humble, do what I got to do, and go back home to, my normal life.
Well, you are.
Go ahead. I'm about to say real quick. I know you're humble, but you're a badass. And if you need somebody to hype you up, call me, dog. I got it. Look, free of charge, though. Free of charge.
So you want him as a hype man?
Come
man,
on,
it's okay.
now.
You can hurt his feelings if you want. You want Shady as a hype. He's a good hype man.
I'm great at it. And look.
Yeah, now let's do it.
When we hit the comments, I'm like, ooh, ooh. Like, I'll be that type of
You
guy.
heard what he said?
What he said?
He said, let's do it for sure.
All right, look. I'm going to have my people call yo.
All right, man. That's a dope, man. Shady be yapping. I like Shady though, man. But I think that's all we got today. You guys let me know, how do y'all feel about Mr. Jesse Rodriguez? He's a beautiful kid, right? And we have the monster obviously doing whatever he pleases in his own respective right. And then we have kind of the dark horse in Junto Nakatani, who I believe could beat Bam, but he seems to be the least talked about between the three. You guys let me know, how do y'all feel about it all, you know? Would you like to see Bam chase Naoya, you know, up to 26? Would you like to see him chase Junto to 22, 26? Do you think Junto and Bam should happen? Do you think Bam was kind of avoiding Junto? You guys let me know. These are three amazing fighters. Can't wait to see more from them. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.